After the wife went to the gym, her whereabouts became mysterious. She told lies constantly, and she even had a new master. My wife and I have always had a good relationship, but since she started going to the gym, her whereabouts have been mysterious, and she's been telling lies constantly. It was late at night, and my wife hadn't come home yet. I made a video call to her. After ringing for a few seconds, Mingao rejected it. I called again. This time Mingao answered, but switched to voice mode. Mingao's words were broken and intermittent. "Who? Husband, WH. What's up? Oh, I'm running at the gym. I increased my workout today, huh? Don't touch there. Ugh." My wife seemed to be trying hard to suppress some kind of sound, and later even started to retch. My face turned green. Is this working out at the gym? This is adultery, right? As an experienced homebody, I certainly know the classic scenarios in those Eastern movies. Could Mingao be? I dare not think further. In fact, I had already noticed something was off with Mingao recently. Originally, we had 3 fixed intimate times every week as a couple, and when we were in the mood, we would also be spontaneous. But since Dream Yao became obsessed with fitness, whenever I try to touch her, she rejects my affection with the excuse of being tired. Yet she has energy for extra workouts at the gym. I've seen many stories online about fitness trainers having affairs with female clients. Have I now become a pitiful cuckolded husband? After all, Dream Yao is so beautiful. She was my college classmate at the computer science department and was the campus beauty. Fair skin, beautiful face, long legs, full chest, slim waist, and perky bottom. She's the kind of beauty that makes men fantasize at first sight. Spending every day in close contact with those testosterone-filled male trainers at the gym, it's really easy for something to happen. At 10 o'clock at night, Dream Yao finally returned. As soon as she came through the door without even greeting me, she hurriedly ran into the bathroom, turned on the water, and started to shower. She's been like this lately. As soon as she got home, no matter how late, she would go take a shower immediately, as if trying to wash away the traces and smells from her body. During that time, the bathroom door opened once, and she threw out a pair of stockings she had taken off. "Help me throw this in the trash. The stockings are ruined, not very good quality." I picked up the black stockings and indeed saw several tears on them. But these looked more like they were torn by hand. Come on. Not to mention, there were also several suspicious white milky drops on them. Black and white in stark contrast, a shocking sight. Half an hour later, she came out. A towel wrapped around her exquisite figure, her hair and face still wet, dismal. Eyeing an alluring charm and temptation. She was so beautiful. Are all beautiful women promiscuous? My heart was filled with mixed emotions, but I really didn't want to believe the fact that my wife was cheating. I deliberately asked, "How's that gym?" Mingao answered while drying her hair with a towel, "It's great. The facilities are complete. The coaches are professional, especially my personal trainer Jack, who is both strict and gentle." While Mingao was praising enthusiastically, I firmly memorized this coach's name. "Seeing how tired you've been lately, maybe you should stop going to the gym?" I probed Mingao's attitude. Unexpectedly, Mingao shook her head firmly. "No, I must keep working out. I need to maintain my figure. Otherwise, as you become more and more successful and wealthy, while I turn into an aged, yellowing fat woman, what if you dump me?" She thrust out her chest, fully displaying her curves. "Husband, I'm working this hard all for you. After all, you're quite the eligible bachelor. I must have a sense of crisis. I don't want to become an abandoned wife. What's wrong? Don't you want me to stay youthful forever? Or do you have a little enchantress outside?" Originally, I was the one questioning Mingao, but it ended up with Mingao questioning me. She thoroughly examined my phone twice before finally letting it go. I didn't have concrete evidence, so I couldn't say much more, but the doubts in my mind wouldn't go away. On the weekend, Mingao got up in the morning and said she was going to that gym to work out. Staying at home was unbearable, so I got up, took the car, and decided to go to that gym to see what Mingao was actually doing inside. Closed today. The 4 large characters on the notice at the entrance felt like 4 slaps across my face. Mingao wasn't at the gym. She was lying. Only cheating women tell lie after lie. I was definitely being cheated on. It's like the hatred for someone who killed your father. The resentment of having your wife taken. No man can tolerate being cheated on by his wife. Not divorcing such a woman. What am I waiting for? The new year. I really wanted to call Mingao again, curse her shamelessness, and then sever all ties with her. But I hesitated, because I truly loved her. During university, I was a poor boy. Mingao was the goddess in my heart. But I was insecure and never dared to fantasize about having anything with Mingao, the campus beauty. Yet Mingao actively pursued me, boldly made the first move, and even gave me her first time. So many guys were jealous and resentful, saying it was like a beautiful flower planted in cow dung. I loved her so much and wanted to give her the best life possible. Although I had no money or connections, I was good at programming in the computer science department and had even won a national programming award. So after graduation, I established a studio, doing outsourced coding work for big companies, working tirelessly to build my business. Mingao was my motivation for entrepreneurship. Though it was hard work, life gradually got better. Recently, an internet giant showed interest in my studio and is discussing an acquisition. If the acquisition succeeds, I could make millions, plus stock options. Just when I was about to reach the peak of success, my personal life went up in flames. I'm in so much pain. Why is this happening? I didn't want to go home, so I dazedly returned to the company and sat idly in the office until late at night. Knock, knock, knock. Someone was at the door. I looked up and saw it was Uncle Xiang, who was on patrol. Uncle Xiang was a pitiful man, with no family or relatives, and he was mute. I met him sleeping on a bench in the park during my morning jog, and out of sympathy, I brought Uncle Xiang back to the company and arranged a security guard job for him. Room and board included. Uncle Xiang couldn't speak, but he pointed at me, then pointed at the door, meaning it was late, and I should go home. I smiled bitterly. Home? Is home just a house? No. Home is a love nest formed by a man and a woman. But my woman betrayed me, so I no longer have a home. I left the company listlessly and took out my phone. Jobin, come out and have a drink with me. Jobin is my best friend and also my business partner. I excel in technology but am not good at socializing. Jobin is just the opposite of me. Average in technical skills, but eloquent and sociable. I was able to open this studio thanks to Jobin, who worked tirelessly to help me handle social relationships. Usually, men care about their pride and wouldn't admit being cheated on even to their best friends. But Jobin was different, because he was the witness to the love between Mingao and me. He was also my love advisor, giving me plenty of suggestions and teaching me how to please Mingao. In the bar, Jobin teased me. Wow, even a devoted husband like you has started hanging out at bars? This is supposed to be a privilege for us single guys. Aren't you afraid Mingao will find out? But let me say this up front, don't rat me out. I'm afraid Mingao will come after me for corrupting her man. I drained my beer in one go, feeling dejected. We're getting divorced. Hearing this, Jobin stopped joking and seriously asked me what happened. After I told him what had happened, Jobin seemed even more angry than I was. This Mingao, how dare she cheat on my brother? She can't be let off easily. She truly doesn't know how lucky she is. Nowadays, decent men like you who earn money and take care of the family are becoming extinct. And she doesn't even cherish you. Jobin patted my shoulder, but don't act rashly yet. We need to investigate secretly and get solid evidence of her affair before confronting her. That way, you'll have the upper hand in the divorce proceedings. Make her leave empty-handed. Otherwise, if this which takes a large sum of your money to support her lover, wouldn't that drive you crazy? I nodded firmly. Indeed, brothers are like limbs. Women can't be trusted. Leave the investigation to me. I have several friends who work as private detectives. We'll definitely get to the bottom of this. Jobin guaranteed. Just then, my phone rang. It was Mingao calling. Honey, why aren't you home yet this late? Don't be out there having a wild time. Hearing this voice, I almost burst into cursing. You're messing around outside, yet you have the nerve to remind me not to be indulgent? How can a person be shameless to this degree? Jobin hurriedly made a calming gesture toward me. Small forbearance prevents big chaos. I took a deep breath. Honey, the company sent me on a business trip suddenly. I just got off the plane and forgot to tell you. For the next few days, using the business trip as an excuse, I stayed at a hotel, waiting for Jobin's investigation. During this time, Jobin met with me once and asked for a few strands of my hair, without explaining why. It made me feel anxious. 3 days later, Jobin came again. With a gloomy face. You guessed right. Mingao definitely has someone. We've already obtained the most conclusive evidence. My heart sank. Actually, these past few days, I had still been holding on to a glimmer of hope that this was all a misunderstanding. But suddenly Jobin burst into laughter. He gave me a hard push. Dude, your wife has a baby in her belly. Huh. I was stunned. Mingao is pregnant. You're going to be a father. Are you surprised? Unexpected, right? I don't care. I'm going to be the godfather to the child. Jobin patted my shoulder, looking very excited. I was still in a daze, but then I saw Mingao, dressed in loose clothes, also appearing at the doorway. Her eyes were red. Clearly she had been crying. You heartless man. I'm having your baby, and you suspect me of cheating? In your heart. Is that how dirty you think I am? Am I some promiscuous Pangelian to you? So many people pursued me back then, but I chose you? I must have been blind. Fine, you want a divorce? Divorce. I'll go get an abortion right now. So you won't have to worry about me poisoning you or murdering my husband. While scolding me, she threw a pregnancy report at my face. Jobin hurriedly tried to smooth things over. All right, Mingao. Jia is just worried sick. And you? Why didn't you tell Jia about your pregnancy? Why be so mysterious about it? Of course a man would overthink. If he didn't overthink, it would mean he doesn't love you. With Jobin mediating, Mingao gradually calmed down. I also learned the truth about what happened. Mingao was indeed pregnant. The pregnancy report was from a legitimate hospital. There was no mistake. But Mingao hadn't told me because she wanted to wait until our wedding anniversary next month to give me a surprise. The doctor told her that during the first 3 months of pregnancy, she couldn't have sex, so Mingao could only refuse me by saying she was tired. And that night, she lied about going for a run. She really wasn't at the gym. She was at the hospital for a prenatal checkup. That's why she rejected my video call and made those strange sounds. During pregnancy, symptoms like vomiting along with frequent and urgent urination are extremely common. It was all a misunderstanding. But would doctors still be working that late? I specifically arranged for a specialist to see me privately. But what about those white stains on your stockings? Oh my, can I drink milk when I'm tired? What kind of mess are you always thinking about? Mingao left in a huff. I was about to go after her, but Jobin stopped me. He mysteriously handed me another piece of paper. I had a paternity test done through internal hospital connections. The baby in her belly is yours. Remember those hair strands? But don't ever let Mingao know about the paternity test. She would not only hate me for it, but also grow distant from you. I gave Jobin's shoulder a firm pat. Brother, you've worked hard. I understand. After learning about Mingao's pregnancy, my heart was filled with joy and happiness. With family happiness and career prosperity, I was full of confidence, looking forward to a bright future. But what happened next was like cold water splashed on my head, leaving me completely chilled, because I saw inappropriate videos of Mingao online. After misunderstanding that Mingao was cheating, we had a cold war for several days. I carefully tried to please her, repeatedly apologized, and bought her favorite Hermes, which finally brought a smile back to her face. Mingao still frequently went to the gym. She said that during pregnancy, it was even more important to maintain her figure and strengthen exercise, which would also make delivery easier later. Naturally, I had no objections. That day, I went to that internet company to discuss the acquisition. After the meeting, the project manager accompanied me on a tour of the company. Being my first visit to such an internet giant, I was quite interested. After seeing many departments, I gained valuable insights. Content moderation department? The sign on an office door caught my interest. I had only heard about the profession of content moderators before. Their job was to watch adult videos. Just hearing about it made men envious. Seeing me staring at the door sign, the project manager laughed. Want to take a peek inside? Inside the content filtering department, dozens of professional content reviewers were wearing headphones, taking note. While watching their screens. Their faces didn't show the excitement I had imagined, but instead were filled with exhaustion, numbness, and a sense of despair. Thinking about it, I understood why. Even the most lecherous person couldn't endure watching restricted content for over 10 hours a day. I was just taking a casual glance, but the video on one of the monitors caught my attention. The video was called Master's Orders. The background of the video contained various exercise equipment. The main character was a woman with a graceful figure. She wore a somewhat oversized white shirt on top, with two bare slender legs below. On her face, she wore a black butterfly mask that covered her eyes and brows. She posed provocatively for the camera, performing various explicit actions. My face turned pale. My body couldn't stop trembling. Although the woman was wearing a mask, how could I not recognize my wife Mingao's figure? Not to mention, on her lower abdomen, that conspicuous Z tattoo. Mingao already had this tattoo when we first started dating. She said she had watched a movie called The Mask of Zorro and admired it, so she got Zorro's Z mark tattooed. It was definitely her. My heart sank like it had fallen into an ice cave. Mingao, you've finally fallen. Why did you become another man's plaything? And going out to fool around while carrying my child? This is a double humiliation for me. This humiliation was so great that I couldn't even bring myself to speak to Jobin about it. That night when I returned home, I parked my car downstairs and stared at the window of my apartment. I stared for an entire night. Smoked for an entire night. Listened to Jackie Chung's Heart Cut by a Knife for an entire night. During this time, Mingao called me, but I made excuses about working overtime. I watched as the light in the window went out. Watched as the entire community sank into darkness. I watched as the eastern sky turned a pale white, and cleaners began collecting garbage. I opened the window and released the smoke that had accumulated all night. I turned the car key, only to find it wouldn't start. The car battery had been drained by me. I knew that our love had also run out of power. Jay, why do you smell so strongly of smoke? Mingao had just woken up and asked with concern when she saw me returning home. Let's get a divorce. What did you say? Let's get a divorce. I wanted to light another cigarette, but considering Mingao was still pregnant, I decided against it. Huangjia, I'm carrying your child, and you want to divorce me? Don't you feel any shame saying this? Mingao realized I wasn't joking, and with trembling hands, she questioned me frantically. Tears welled up in her eyes, making her look pitiful, but I didn't soften. I showed her the video I had secretly recorded yesterday. 4. Tunately, no one discovered me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to explain. Mingao looked at my phone and let out an scream. The phone also fell to the ground. Husband, it's not like that. She rushed over and grabbed my arm. Don't touch me. I find it disgusting. I pried Mingao's arms away. Do you dare say the woman in this video isn't you? Am I wronging you? It is me, but but I'm truly being wronged. I haven't done anything to betray you. You're so good to me, successful in your career. Why would I cheat? What would I gain? I'm even pregnant with your child. Am I crazy? Mingao frantically explained herself. As long as I'm not crazy or stupid, I wouldn't do something that harms others without benefiting myself. Crazy? That's it. I am crazy. Someone put a spell on me. That must be what happened. Husband, you have to believe me. I'm a victim too. Mingao sobbed uncontrollably and eventually even knelt before me, hoping I would believe in her innocence and not abandon her. A spell? Isn't that just a plot made up in movies? Does such a thing really exist in this world? Looking at Mingao's tear-stained face, I hesitated. I hoped more than anyone that Mingao wasn't truly a. After all, she was the woman I loved. She was the mother of my child. Humiliating her wouldn't bring me joy. It would only cause me double the pain. You know my family are Thai Chinese immigrants. Mingao sobbed as she told me about the curse. Mingao's family were indeed Thai Chinese immigrants. Her great-grandfather's generation had gone to Southeast Asia, done business there, and intermarried with locals. Later, when China's economy improved, Mingao's father's generation returned to China to develop their business. That's why Mingao was so beautiful. She was essentially of mixed Chinese-Thai heritage. Mingao said that in Southeast Asia, a kind of witchcraft called spirit possession was very common. Mingao was both agitated and furious. Husband, you must seek justice for me. Because he not only insulted me, but also insulted your child. Let's call the police. Jack, who? He's the bastard who did it. I mentioned several times that during training, I would easily get drowsy and then take a nap. It was his doing all along. I want him to go to jail. Seeing Mingao's hysterical state, I believe she is truly a victim. If Mingao were putting on an act with me, she wouldn't voluntarily suggest calling the police. Wouldn't that be walking right into a trap? But I didn't impulsively call the police, even though I had the urge to kill that Jack. I work in internet technology, and that Jack has already posted indecent videos of Mingao online. Who knows how many more videos he has? What if he's pushed to the edge, gives up completely, and continues to damage Mingao's reputation? In that case, even if he goes to jail, the harm done to me, Zhao would be irreparable. I'll go find him first. If we can resolve this privately, let's handle it privately. I don't want you to get hurt. Husband, thank you. You're so good to me. Mingao cried and threw herself into my arms. I'll never go to the gym again. Husband, will you blame me? Will you despise me? After all, I've really been defiled. I'm no longer worthy of you. If you really want a divorce, I have no objections. I'll leave with nothing and raise our child alone. Whoa. I massaged Mingao's shoulders. No, I won't. After all, you're a victim too. It's not your fault. Besides, that person only harassed you. He didn't actually do anything to your body. Otherwise, your body would certainly have felt it, wouldn't it? No matter what, I am your husband, and I will always support you. Mingao cried, even louder. Ajay, meeting you is the greatest happiness in my life. I don't know if it was because he felt guilty, but that Jack hadn't been to the gym for several days. He had given himself a foreign name, but was certainly not a foreigner, just like how many hairstylists like to call themselves Tony. It's all a manifestation of worshipping and fawning over foreign things. I spent money to get his home address from the gym receptionist and went to find him. Dream Yao wanted to accompany me, but I refused, because I knew this sleazy trainer wouldn't say anything decent. I didn't want Dream Yao to suffer a second humiliation, and I definitely didn't want the child in her womb to hear vulgar language. Jack lived in an urban village. This area was full of all sorts of people, a mixture of good and bad, where gray, yellow, and black activities frequently occurred. I had to be even more careful. I felt my satchel, which contained a dagger, not to hurt anyone, but for self-defense. The door wasn't locked, so I pushed it open and walked in. The weather outside was hot, but as soon as I entered this room, I felt an eerie chill. It seemed several degrees cooler inside than outside. The room was messy, with garbage everywhere, emitting a foul smell. A muscular figure with his back to me was intently watching a computer screen. He hadn't noticed my approach at all. I held back my anger, didn't speak at first, but looked at Jack's computer screen. It was Mingao's video. He indeed had other videos. Bastard. I rushed up from behind and delivered a hard punch. Jack was caught off guard and knocked to the ground by me. Trembling, the knife in my pocket fell to the floor. Who are you? He got up from the ground, glaring at me viciously. I am Mingao's husband. I gritted my teeth. You're messing with something as sinister as black magic. Aren't you afraid of the backfire? Before coming, I had also found many stories and legends about black magic online. Black magic is very malicious. Once it's broken by the other party, or if our accidents happen, those who cast the black magic will face terrible backfire. Backfire? Only the weak fear that. The strong have no taboos. Let me tell you, I have many methods. Once your wife has been targeted by me, she won't escape from my grasp. Jack laughed recklessly. What exactly do you want? My eyes bulged with rage. Money for those videos. I'm not asking for much, just 1 million. If you don't pay, Just wait for your wife to become internet famous. What you've seen so far is just minor stuff. Perhaps next time what you'll see online is your wife with animals." Jack coldly sneered as he stated his conditions. From his words, I could tell he had done this kind of thing many times before. Casting spells, scamming for money and sex, threatening and blackmailing. This was a complete operation. Such a despicable person, shameless and greedy. Once you get involved with them, it's like having torn pants sticking to your legs. Very difficult to easily get rid of. Report to the police. I was worried about Mingao's reputation. Pay the money. I was also concerned this would be a bottomless pit. These scoundrels would blackmail again and again. Give me some time to think about it. Sure, but you'd better hurry. To be honest, I've made many copies of your wife's videos. Damn it. Furious, I punched the wall hard. Because I used too much force, my hand started bleeding. At this moment, I truly felt like killing this thug. You're angry, aren't you? Want to kill me? Go ahead if you want to. Isn't there a dagger on the floor? Come on. I won't dodge. My life is worthless anyway. Jack pointed at the dagger on the floor, taunting me. I was trembling with rage, but didn't dare to make any rash moves. Just as he said, his life might be worthless, but I had a wife, children, and a career. I couldn't ruin my entire life by acting impulsively, so I could only leave somewhat pathetically. Jack's mocking voice followed from behind. Coward. You think you can mess with me? I was already a thug when you were still playing in the mud. Many people have wanted me dead. Who do you think you are? At that moment, I endured utter humiliation. In my anger, I even fell flat on my face in Jack's living room. Jack laughed even louder. But neither I nor Jack expected that joy would turn to sorrow. He really died, and I became the murder suspect. The night I went to find Jack, I had just returned home when Mingao ran up to me anxiously. Honey, how did it go? Although I felt depressed inside, in order not to affect Mingao's mood and the baby in her belly, I forced a smile. It's nothing. Everything's been resolved. Honey, I knew you were the best. Huh, how did your hand get hurt? You're suffering because of me. It's my fault. I've caused you trouble. Mingao was smiling at first, but later when she saw my injured hand, she started crying. She read extremely remorseful. Sigh. They say pregnant women tend to have unstable emotions. It's really true. I quickly comforted Mingao, saying I was fine. After being tense all day, Mingao fell into a deep sleep. But I was sleepless once again, thinking about how to deal with that scoundrel's blackmail. I only fell asleep in the early hours of the morning and slept deeply. The next morning, I was awakened by urgent knocking on the door. Mingao wasn't home. She probably went out for a morning run. I opened the door to see several police officers standing outside. I was stunned. Mr. Huangjia, do you know Wang Dahu? No, I don't. He also has an English name called Jack. I know him. I answered hesitantly, wondering about the police's intentions. He's dead. We found surveillance footage of you at the crime scene. Please come with us to the police station to assist with our investigation. Dead? I exclaimed in shock. Although this scumbag's death was something to celebrate. But judging from the police's tone, they considered me a suspect. I was truly panicking. Just then, Mingao returned from her morning run and overheard what the police said. Mingao became anxious. I killed him. It has nothing to do with my husband. This foolish woman. Was she trying to take the blame for me to clear my name? What blame are you taking? His death has nothing to do with me. Oh, I understand now. I guess when I said last night that I took care of that Jack, and with blood on me, Mingao really thought I had killed someone? The police officer became more serious. Were you involved too? Then come with us to the police station as well. I hurriedly defended myself loudly. Officer, my wife and I have nothing to do with this matter. After half a day of questioning, Mingao was given a warning and released. Because Jack's death had nothing to do with her. She had never even been to the crime scene. But I was in trouble. There was too much evidence against me. Though there weren't many surveillance cameras in the urban village, there happened to be one right in front of Jack's rental apartment. It clearly captured footage of me entering and leaving Jack's home. And according to the forensic autopsy report, Jack's time of death was during that period. On Jack's body, they found tissue samples that belonged to me. On the walls of Jack's home, they found bloodstains that belonged to me. The cause of Jack's death was a dagger stabbed into his heart. And investigating my purchase records, I had indeed bought a dagger before finding Jack. The dagger wasn't found at the crime scene, but they discovered a bloody dagger in a garbage bin in the urban village. The blood on it was Jack's, but the fingerprints were mine. All of this was evidence that I had committed murder. The motive for the crime was also there, as all is found in decent videos of Mingao on Jack's computer. So, a husband avenging his humiliated wife seemed perfectly reasonable and justified. It looked like I couldn't clear my name even if I jumped into the Yellow River. More bizarrely, the evil wooden box containing the 5 poisons that I mentioned had completely disappeared. Do you have anything else to say? Our policy is leniency for those who confess, severity for those who resist. I didn't kill him. I have evidence to prove my innocence. What evidence? Did you find a voice recorder at the scene? When I went to find Jack, besides buying a dagger, I also bought a voice recorder. Later, when Jack was humiliating me, I fell flat on my face. It looked clumsy, but it was actually intentional. As I fell to the ground, I slipped the voice recorder under the living room sofa. I left it running, intending to record evidence of Jack's crimes. Or to record some of his secrets. Something I could use against him, to blackmail him, to force him to stop harassing my wife and me. Unexpectedly, this move became the key to clearing my name. The police really found that voice recorder under the sofa. In the voice recorder, the entire conversation between Jack and me was completely presented. Most importantly, my slamming the door as I left could be heard. Jack's laughter while alone could be heard. Coward. Either give me money, or let me have your woman. You want to fight with me? Do you have what it takes? About 5 minutes after I left, a conversation between Jack and a third person appeared in the recording. Jack? Everything has been done according to your instructions. That guy fell completely into the trap. Third person, Jack, but isn't 500,000 a bit too little for me? I'm taking risks here. What if that guy gets desperate and fights me to the death? You need to pay more. Third person, Jack? Okay, then you're going to kill me. From this point in the recording, apart from Jack's dying wails and screams, there were no other sounds. This recording cleared my name. It proved that after I left, another man found Jack. He was Jack's accomplice, and together they had engineered the plot against me. And he killed Jack to silence him. Clearly, this person chose to kill him right after I left, and even used my dropped dagger. Just to frame me. He almost succeeded. I was released without charges. But my heart feels heavy and dark. Who is this mysterious killer? Why is he targeting me, and what is his purpose? But for now, these remain unknown. The police are investigating, but currently have no progress. In the voice recorder, there are only 2 indistinct sounds. Not enough to identify the killer. The surveillance camera at Jack's front door didn't capture this suspicious person, meaning he came in through the back door. There's no surveillance there. Investigating Jack's social connections and call records also yielded nothing. I've started to become extremely anxious. I feel like in the darkness, there's a hidden monster with a bloody mouth wide open, ready to devour me at any moment. Hey Jay, are you okay? I'm so glad you're alright. Just as I walked out of the police station, I saw Mingao with her red eyes rushing toward me, hugging me tightly, her voice trembling and sobbing, clearly worried sick about me. It's okay. I'm fine, despite my heavy heart. I knew the crisis I was facing was far more complex and unpredictable than simply being blackmailed with compromising videos. But I didn't want to worry Mingao. Jobin had also come to pick me up, and he clearly wanted to ask something, but was stopped by my look. After sending Mingao home, I sat with Jobin in the office. I told him everything about the case. I wanted Jobin to help me analyze who exactly was trying to harm me. Jobin was silent for a while before finally speaking. It's about money. To be precise, some people found out about our plans to collaborate with an internet giant, which threatened their interests. So they're using others to attack you. By getting you imprisoned, the collaboration with that internet giant can't proceed, and they can take advantage of the situation, stealing our fruits. You mean our competitors? Yes. Only competitors harbor such naked hatred, Jobin said with certainty. I fell silent. The reason our studio was recognized and acquired this time. The most important reason is that we recently developed a cutting-edge, big data algorithm. But at the same time, I also knew that we weren't the only company in the industry researching this algorithm. There were many competitors. So obviously, this was a race to gain the first-mover advantage. In the internet field, only the first to take the risk has value. This is a field where winners take all and losers are eliminated. Take microblogging for example. Sina created Weibo, and other companies creating microblogs after that just wasted their efforts. Algorithms are the same. If your algorithm comes out even one day later than others, then it becomes worthless. So was it my industry peers who were jealous that we finalized the algorithm first and were about to cooperate with the big players, which is why they used such a vicious tactic? It seemed like the incident stemmed from Mingao, but it was actually aimed at me. Just for this cooperation? Is it worth it to them? This is about human life. I shuddered, feeling deeply disturbed. Why not? Most murders in this world are either for money or for women. Jobin stubbed out his cigarette. Some people would kill an entire family just to steal 5 yuan, let alone our business worth tens of millions. Plus shares. That's like a hen that lays golden eggs. GS. I was convinced by Jobin. I recalled what my teacher taught in politics class. When profit reaches 10%, people begin to stir with greed. When profit reaches 50%, people dare to take risks. When profit reaches 100%, they dare to trample all human laws. When profit reaches 300%, they fear not even the gallows. As long as there's profit to be made, we cannot stop people from selling their conscience and breaking the law. So what should we do? Now that algorithm still needs a few more rounds of verification. During this time, You shouldn't go out casually. Just stay at home and work on it properly, while also keeping Mingao company. She's pregnant and emotionally unstable. Once we sign the contract and get the money, those people will quiet down. As for those face-to-face negotiations, let me handle them. But wouldn't that put you in danger? Haha. You're the core competitiveness of our company. You created the algorithm. I'm just the errand runner. What danger could there be? As long as you're safe, the company is safe. If something happens to you, the company is finished. So don't worry about me. Jobin appeared very relaxed. But I knew he was doing all this to share my burden. I couldn't help but feel a lump in my throat. Jobin, as a brother, was truly beyond words. For the next 2 months, I rarely went out, staying home to perfect the algorithm. Mingao no longer went to the gym. She just did yoga at home. I remained vigilant, but fortunately everything was calm with no major risks occurring. Finally, the algorithm passed 3 rounds of calculation without error. Our partnership with the internet giant was officially established. When I signed my name on the contract, my heart finally settled down. I heaved a long sigh of relief. These past few months had been tense and depressing, incredibly difficult to get through. In the evening, Jobin suggested we go out for a celebratory dinner. Both Mingao and I came. At the dinner table, we envisioned a bright future. Mingao's belly was already over 4 months along, slightly protruding. The Z tattoo was even being stretched a bit out of shape. Jobin joked that she was carrying a little Zorro inside. After dinner, Mingao and I waited outside the restaurant for Jobin to bring the car around. Just then, something unexpected happened. A roaring motorcycle suddenly accelerated directly toward me. This wasn't a traffic accident. Someone deliberately wanted me dead. Having had a few drinks, my reactions were sluggish. In this critical moment, "Watch out!" Mingao screamed as she threw herself at me, pushing me forcefully away. I stumbled as I was pushed. She also lost her balance, her body falling heavily to the ground. Crimson blood flowed from her pant leg. Ah! Mingao clutched her stomach, rolling and screaming in agony. My baby! My baby!" She began to sob uncontrollably. "Mingao! Mingao!" I rushed over and held Mingao, shouting, "Ajay! Ajay! Save our child!" Even after getting into the ambulance, Mingao kept repeating this sentence. My tears fell like rain. I frantically tore at my own hair. Those bastards! Why don't you come after me? Why hurt my lover and harm my child? Mingao had a miscarriage. The nearly 5-month-old fetus was gone. She lay in bed, ashen-faced, silently weeping, not saying a word no matter how I called to her. The motorcycle driver who hit me was arrested. Wang Dahu, the brother of that Jack. Because he firmly believed that Wang Dahu died by my hand, he wanted revenge. Wang Dabiao was arrested, but since his motorcycle didn't directly hit me and my wife, he argued that he only intended to scare us. Mingao's miscarriage was because she fell by herself, so he wouldn't stay in detention for long. This accident erased all the joy from my career success. I put all my energy into taking care of Mingao. Mingao, who had always loved beauty, stopped grooming herself or dressing up, and just stared blankly every day. Then she would suddenly become frantic, slapping her own face, pulling her own hair, even trying to harm herself with scissors. I hurriedly embraced her in fear, allowing my body to be covered with wounds of varying depths. Mingao cried bitterly in my arms, saying everything happened because she went to the gym. I cried too. Mingao, how could this be your fault? This is all my fault. We embraced each other and wept. Mingao's condition continued for a week without improvement, and I really feared she might do something foolish again. I not only hid all the scissors and kitchen knives in the house, I also consulted a psychologist. The doctor said that Mingao had suffered a severe shock, and continuing like this, she could easily develop depression. My child, my child. Hearing Mingao repeat this phrase every day, seeing her in such unbearable pain, I felt myself becoming depressed too. It started with insomnia. Later, it became excessive sleepiness. But my sleep quality was poor, having nightmares night after night. The dreams were filled with blood, slaughter, and suffering, all crying, shouting, and wailing. I even dreamed of the child who never came into this world, but had already departed. I couldn't see his features clearly, but I knew he was there in the clouds and mist across from me. He was crying, "Daddy, save me. Daddy, I'm scared. Daddy, pull me out." This dream repeated in an endless cycle every day. For me, it's like torture in boiling oil each time. I always try to rush into that mist, but I can't break through. Every time I wake up, I'm soaked all over, my face covered in tears, drenched in sweat. You dreamed about our child too, didn't you? Mingao's expression improved a little as she held my hand and asked with concern. I nodded. Mingao wept bitterly. The same. My dream is exactly the same. Countless times I've tried to rescue my child, but I can't do it. Can't do it. I'm so useless. Don't worry, I will definitely rescue our child. I held Mingao's hand with my strongest determination. I know that dream is actually the inner demon of us as husband and wife. Saying we're rescuing our child is actually about saving ourselves. If we can't overcome this inner demon, I fear both Mingao and I will go insane. Afraid of frightening Mingao, I left home and went to the company. To enter the dream state sooner, I drank alcohol. Finally, I arrived in front of that cloud of mist from my dream again. Daddy, save me. Daddy, I'm scared. Daddy, pull me out. Don't be afraid, child. Daddy's here. I shouted at the mist. I shouted until my voice was hoarse, shouted like a cuckoo bleeding its heart out. Finally, the clouds dispersed and the mist cleared. At last I saw the complete view of the other side. A baby lying in a cradle, crying. Around the baby, there were wolves, tigers, leopards, demons, and monsters crawling everywhere. They opened their bloody mouths, as if they could devour the baby at any moment. And between me and the baby, there was a bottomless abyss. A woo. This was the sound of a ghostly wolf howl. Daddy, save me. I'm coming. I took a running start, about to leap across that abyss. As long as I could save him, I wasn't afraid even if I would be smashed to pieces. Just at that moment, suddenly a great force pulled me back. Then, next to my ear, came a deafening shout. Wake up. My whole body gave a sudden jerk. Only then did I wake from the nightmare. I could hear nothing but the howling wind in my ears. Though there was no abyss before me, it was almost the same, because I was already standing on the roof of the company building, 33 floors up. If I took one more step forward, I would truly be shattered to pieces. Beyond salvation, Mingao hadn't committed suicide, yet I had almost jumped to my death. I was gasping for breath, feeling hot sweat breaking out all over my body, then instantly turning cold. Turning my head, I looked at the person who had saved me at the critical moment. Hunched posture, face full of wrinkles. Who else could it be but Uncle Xiang? Sir, you've been cursed with a death hex. Mute Uncle Xiang had actually spoken. Uncle Xiang, you. I didn't know what to ask in that moment. Hong Zing of Maoshan, practiced the silent way for 10 years, just recently completed my isolation. I didn't intentionally pretend to be deaf and mute, deceiving Sir's kindness. Uncle Xiang's voice was somewhat hoarse. A Maoshan Taoist? I've read similar novels, but never imagined T. Had such a master would be right by my side. You were surrounded by wolves in sheep's clothing. If I'm not mistaken, someone has secretly placed a ghost curse on you. This was the second time I'd heard someone say I was under a curse. Last time it was Mingao, but it was later proven that Jack couldn't cast curses, he had only used hallucinogens. Now Uncle Xiang was saying I was under a curse too? Although I trusted him a great deal after he had just saved me in the nick of time. I couldn't help but have my doubts. I was probably just disoriented, right? Like sleepwalking or something. Uncle Xiang sighed and carefully explained to me about curses. As it turned out, these curses originated from Tang Sanzang and the classical novel Journey to the West, one of the 4 great Chinese classics. In Journey to the West, there was a plot where the 4 companions were returning after obtaining the true scriptures. They came across a large river where an old turtle helped them cross. The turtle asked Tang Sanzang about something he had promised to inquire about, but Tang Sanzang had completely forgotten. In a fit of anger, the old turtle threw them all into the river, and the scriptures sank along with them. The master and his 4 disciples only managed to salvage the Mahayana Buddhist sutras, while the Hinayana prophecy texts disappeared. The prophecy texts later circulated to China, and after changing hands several times, ended up in the possession of Taoist practitioners, who used this book to establish the Maoshan Taoist arts. The handwritten manuscript documenting the Maoshan Taoist arts accidentally made its way to Siam, where locals obtained it and modified it into the practice of Jiang-Tu spirit possession. Siam is modern-day Thailand. Since the Siamese Jiang-Tu techniques were based on handwritten copies of the prophecy text with many proper methods missing, they were far less powerful than the Maoshan arts. And now, all of my abnormal behaviors, the dreams I've been having, the crying children in my dreams, my near-suicide attempt, all of this is because someone has cast a ghost spell on me. The ghost spell is what's commonly known as raising little ghosts. Raising little ghosts brings good fortune to those who nurture them. Many celebrities in the entertainment industry raise 1 or 2 little ghosts to help boost their careers and ensure smoother development. But because these children used to raise little ghosts are all young children who died prematurely. Many were even deliberately aborted by their parents. Unable to reincarnate, they harbor great resentment. Therefore, given the opportunity, they will kill their own biological parents. I listened in shock. So Uncle Xiang, you're saying that someone is using my prematurely deceased child to raise a little ghost, to bring prosperity to themselves, but wanting to kill me? Uncle Xiang nodded. I don't have any prematurely deceased. As I said this, I stopped suddenly. I did have a child who died before birth. The one Mingao miscarried to save me. So, I dared not think further. But who exactly is trying to harm me? Mingao? Was her previous pain and remorse all an act for me? If that's really the case, how poisonous must this woman's heart be? Is she even human anymore? Have I been sharing a bed with a demon? But Uncle Xiang couldn't answer these questions for me either. He is a cultivator who normally wouldn't concern himself with these mundane matters. This time, by saving me and helping that fetus to reincarnate. He has already repaid his debt of gratitude. He needed to return to Mount Mao. For the rest, I could only search for answers on my own. To hear someone's true thoughts, listen to what others say behind their back. This was Uncle Xiang's parting advice to me. Our city is near the sea. First, I went to a small general store in the county below, waking the owner from his sleep. I paid him double, and using a road trip as an excuse, bought several changes of clothes and 20 high-capacity power banks. Also bread, sausages, and bottled water. Then I drove to the seaside and carelessly abandoned my car by the roadside. I tossed my phone, wallet, and keys onto a stone slab. I threw my jacket, clothes, leather shoes, and socks into the sea. Changed into the old clothes I had bought, and carrying those items, left alone in the night and returned to Uncle Xiang's temple. This place had been in ruins for years with few visitors, making it perfect for hiding. Then I turned on another phone and connected it to a power bank. 24-hour monitoring of every move in my own home. I'm a man of science and technology. Since Jack died and I discovered someone wanted to harm me, I installed hidden cameras all over my house. To avoid worrying Mingao, I didn't tell her about it. Initially, I installed those cameras to protect Mingao. Ironically, they have now become my tools for monitoring Mingao. Just as I had planned, the next day, someone found the things I had discarded by the sea. The police came to notify Mingao. They said something might have happened to me. Mingao immediately burst into tears, saying I must have committed suicide. She said I couldn't accept the fact of the miscarriage, that I had been depressed for days, and she had been afraid I would do something rash. Sure enough, something had happened. Mingao wept bitterly, nearly fainting. Friends who rushed over upon hearing the news could only take turns consoling Mingao. Her grief seemed so genuine. She cried all day and couldn't eat. Watching in secret, I began to feel ashamed. I felt I had truly gone mad. How could I trust the words of a street magician? I actually used fake death to test her true feelings. But I immediately rejected my own thoughts. Something's not right. Mingao is not acting normal. She only displayed her grief. But why hasn't she contacted my parents or relatives? As dusk fell, fewer and fewer people remained in the house. Finally, only she was left. Mingao turned on the stereo and played a romantic, sensual song. Mingao danced gracefully to the music. While looking in the mirror, she carefully wiped away her tears and applied heavy makeup. Half an hour later, the grieving widow was gone. There was only a seductive, enchanting woman, posing and flaunting shamelessly. Knock, knock, knock. Someone was at the door. Mingao walked with a cat-like gait, swaying her body as she went to open the door. The door opened, and a man entered. Mingao sensuously knelt down and used her mouth to lick that person's leather shoes. While moaning, she called out, "Master." The man in the frame gradually revealed his face. Jobin. I watched as the woman I loved most embraced and danced with my dearest brother in my home, and tumbled passionately on my bed. I heard them mockingly refer to me as the dead ghost, wishing for my death, and I really did commit suicide. I listened to them discussing the details of their entire scheme, proudly celebrating their conspiracy. Surprisingly, I felt no anger. It just seemed absurd, and somewhat laughable, laughing at myself for being such a big fool. I was sold out, and still helping them count their money. It turns out the conspiracy began back in university, right after I won that national programming competition first prize. Jobin was a very calculating person. He knew that we were in the internet boom era. To get rich, the only path was through a tech company. But lacking the ability himself, he targeted me. Online, there are pig butchering scams. They exist in real life too. And in real life, I was the pig, waiting to be slaughtered. To manipulate me, Jobin went so far as to send his girlfriend Mingao to my bed. It turns out they were a couple all along. They had been intimate for a long time. Mingao obeyed Jobin completely. The Z tattoo on her stomach means Zhao. It represents her submission to Jobin. All that talk about liking Zoro was nonsense. To make me fall for the trap, Mingao even underwent hymen reconstruction surgery. A man chasing a woman faces mountains of obstacles, but a woman chasing a man only has a veil between them. As an inexperienced fool, I fell for it easily. After graduation, I worked hard on my startup. In reality, I was just helping this deceitful couple build their future. They were waiting for me to succeed so they could take over and reap the benefits. Finally, they got what they were waiting for, a partnership with an internet giant. They felt it was time to close the trap. That's why Mingao became obsessed with the gym, making me think she was cheating, followed by Jack's blackmail scheme. Jack was also working with them. Jack was always a hooligan, and his purpose as a fitness trainer was to scam money and take advantage of women. Previously in other gyms, he had been disciplined for harassing female clients. Jobin figured out this lecher's dirty psychology, befriended him with false intentions, saying he could teach him mysterious skills to bewitch women. This was much more effective than any hallucinogens or date rape drugs. And even if someone reported it, it would be difficult to find evidence. No need to go to prison at all. Jack joined the scheme. But Jack was naturally just a tool being used. After utilizing him, Jobin silenced him permanently. Jobin was the mysterious third person at the crime scene. Logically speaking, the plan was quite perfect up to this point. I would be indefensible, thrown in jail, and all my property would have to go to my wife, which meant it would essentially be taken by Jobin. But they didn't anticipate that I would leave a voice recorder at the scene, clearing me of false charges. They were disappointed, but not discouraged, because they still had a chain of poisonous schemes. Whether I went to prison or not, it wouldn't affect their plans. That was Mingao's pregnancy. Mingao got pregnant intentionally, because this way I would care more about her, and would fight desperately for her after she was bullied, and conveniently get me killed, inducing me to commit suicide. And Wang Dabio was, of course, also hired by them, performing a scheme of self-inflicted injury in front of me. Ring, ring, ring. Mingao's phone on the bedside table started ringing. She made a gesture to Jobin to keep quiet, then answered the phone. Hello? Her voice was mournful and sorrowful. If one couldn't see the smug expression on her face, they would surely think this was a grief-stricken widow. No one would have thought that the widow was sleeping with another man. But soon, the expression on her face turned to terror. Because that call was from me. Mingao, I'm watching you two right now. I called the police. The footage captured by the surveillance camera was the best evidence. This pair of cheating lovers went to prison, but they both died one after another before their court appearance. In her prison cell, Mingao clawed her own face until it was torn apart, then committed suicide by smashing her head against the wall. Jobin's death was even more bizarre. He died by biting off his own manhood. No one knows how he managed to do it, because that position had already exceeded the physical limits of a normal person. Some said they committed suicide out of guilt, some said out of remorse, and others said it might have been karmic retribution. The world of Qian and Kuan. Heaven's justice prevails. I finally started a new life.